What's up, graphic designers? Today we're going to be creating PNG cutouts of photos that we took last week in class. So the first thing that you're going to do is identify a really crisp image of yourself. You're going to download it. For example, if we want this one featuring Kira, we're going to make sure that we click the more options and then select download. And once we download our image, you're going to open it up in Photoshop by clicking File and then Open, and you're going to find it in the Downloads folder on your computer. And next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a combination of two tools. We're going to be using the magnetic lasso on your body and the polygon lasso on the stool itself, the legs themselves. And we'll start with the magnetic lasso. And so what we're going to want to do is left click once. And now what I'm simply doing is dragging the mouse along the edge of Scotty's body to create a nice selection like so. And you'll notice I'm just doing sort of like the upper torso, right? And that's okay because I'm going to zoom in and I'm making sure that the add to function is selected. Add to selection is highlighted. So now I'm just going to continue where I left off. And I'm going to go like so. You guys are going to do an amazing job. Great. So what I'll do is I'll keep going along around his knee, his hand, and you're going to see in a moment why this subtract from selection is so important. So we want to get rid of this area right here because we don't want to include that in our PNG cutout. So subtract from selection is highlighted. And so now if we press Command C and then we go to File New, and then we're going to wait a moment, we're going to press Enter, and we're going to create something from the clipboard, right? We copied it. I'm going to press Command V, and this is just the area that we've selected so far. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the bottom, and I'm going to just, for purposes of this video tutorial, I'm going to go very quickly. We're changing from the magnetic to the polygon lasso. The add to function is still selected, and the reason we're using the polygon lasso is because we want to create a straight line because these legs are super straight. Plus, it's going to make making these selections just a little bit more easy, a little bit more efficient. I'm going to press Command plus to zoom in, and I can see that we've got these legs going right across. And we're going to break this up. You're going to make selections in pieces until you've got the complete selection of the individual and the stool. Once again, we're going to be creating a canvas based on what we copy from the clipboard, and you can see that what we've got so far. Stay tuned for the final. Alright guys, so I just spent a few moments making this really precise selection. I used, again, the magnetic lasso, the polygon lasso, and you can see sort of all the rungs of this stool are selected. You can see that his fingers are selected. I used the add to and subtract from selection quite a bit to create the selection. We're going to press Command C now to copy. We're going to go to File, New, and then just like before, we're going to click on Create. I'm going to press Command V to paste. Beautiful. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to press Command plus to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to now press Command M or click on Image Adjustments, and then we're going to do Curves. And we're going to make a really slight S-curve to make the lights a little bit lighter and the darks a little bit darker. This is a very subtle technique. We're going to press OK, and you can see the difference. Like so, he pops a little bit more. Now what we need to do, when we look at the layers palette, we see there's two layers. Now what we're going to do is delete this background layer. To do that, you're going to click on the lock. It's unlocked, and now we're going to click and drag this background layer to the garbage can so that we see this like white and gray checkers indicating that there's transparency. This is the very first step of this project. We're going to save this file now as a PNG. So we're going to click File, Save As, and it's going to be your first name, and then cutout, and then instead of a Photoshop file, it's going to be a PNG file. And I'm going to click right there. So it says scottycutout.png. I'm going to click Save, and that's the very first step for this project. Stay tuned for next. All right, so now that our PNG is created, we're going to use the Move tool, and we're going to drag this PNG into this template that I gave you guys. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your PNG is on the very top layer in your layers palette. I'm going to shift it over right to the middle. I'm going to press Command T to change the size of a layer. I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to grab a corner to make sure that when we're changing the size, the layer is proportional because we want the width and the height to be equal. Great. So you're going to have yourself smack dab in the center. We're going to take a look at the lower right hand corner. We're going to add your name and date. I'm sorry, your name and your title. For example, in this context, it's going to say Scotty Cruz, Dream Director. However, for you, what we're going to do is click on the text tool, and you're going to write, if your name's Kira, Kira Bloom, Bloom, and student, and we're going to have student smaller than your name. So maybe your name is approximately size 18 or 24, and we'll have student in size 16. I'm going to shift it over using the move tool. That looks great. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your words, you're going to scatter them around this image. They should be well proportioned. I would consider using the lemon milk font if you're so inclined. You can choose another one from defont.com. Let me know if you guys have any questions. At the end of each class, if you're working on this multiple days, you're going to click on File, Save As, and we're going to save this as a PSD file because that's going to maintain those layers. When you're done, you're going to save it as a JPEG. I'm really excited to see what you guys produce. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.